house prices inflated? Is the market going to drop off? What's going to happen? Is the Fed meeting? Are the rates rising? Let's take a look. Guys, I have a very unpopular opinion about what's going on right now in the market. I read headlines. I read more than headlines. I read the whole article. But we're going to dive into the state of the market, what's going on right now. And I'm going to sum it up with first a quick story that hopefully you can relate to. So I want to tell you about a time when I had a chance to go to a driving range with an ex-PGA golfer. Okay. And there was like 30 of us guys there just hitting range balls. And I have a terrible slice. And I like to golf. I'm not terribly good at it, but I have a good slice, and that's about the only thing I'm good at. So the guy is going around helping him, and I'm like, hey, here's, he's like, pull out your best club. So I like my 7-iron. And I pull my best club. I'm like, here you go. Here's my slice, and I can cure it by taking a 60% swing. But here's my swing. Here's the slice. And he says, I'm going to tell you something that will put 95% of golf pros out of business. And he gives me this little exercise, puts 3 clubs in my hand, helps me use certain mechanics to swing better, rotate through better, etc. And it literally took 3 clubs, did the exercise a couple times, took them out of my hand, did a half backswing, and I hit the ball, hit it about the same yards, and it went straight. And I cured it, like legitimately cured it when I do what he says, with just very little effort. And that's kind of how I feel about the market right now. There are things to cure the chatter that's going on with this market, with just a few simple things. But we're going to dive into some of those headlines, and then we're going to dive into what I like to, that PGA golfer's professional point of view. Like my point of view is just something simple. We're going to simplify all the noise and chatter, because I think there's a lot of people out there making money on headlines, a lot of people out there trying to scare us on what's going on, and we're going to dive into all of that. So, guys, I'm Brian Hymas, born and raised in Boise, Idaho. Spent a lot of my years here. I'm a real estate agent for the last 6 years or so, appraiser for 2 to 3 years before that. I've enjoyed a lot of things. Digital marketing is kind of why I switched from appraiser to real estate agent, because I love that stuff. I love YouTube. I love Boise. I love homes. And I wanted to get a good start. You want to get something going with my digital marketing background to implement into real estate. And without going into too many details there, I was in digital marketing for real estate agents, and then I switched over to doing it myself. So I love this. I love Boise. I love the real estate market, and it is good to have you. Stargazer, Lynette. Wow, Lynette, blast from the past. And thanks for joining us. Looks like we have some on, and this is going to be replayed, so we don't need to wait for anybody, because there's nothing worse than watching a replay live, right? And they wait 2 minutes for you to start, and you're just clicking through to see where it starts. So we're starting. We're going. We're on our way. So Stargazer asks, is it really dropping, or is the demand still high from all the retirees? Great question. We're going to dive into that right now, Stargazer. So Stargazer, remind me of your name. I know we've gone back and forth in emails a few times. And Lynette is from the San Diego area. If you are moving to or from San Diego, she is your gal. And Stargazer, let me know your first name. So, is it really dropping, or is demand still high? So you've touched on something. I've touched on this in other lives. So remember, pricing, rates, everything is really a game on supply and demand. There's nothing more than supply and demand. And price is a factor of that. People moving here from California and Washington is a factor of that. But everything is supply and demand. So keep that in mind. Thanks, Lynette. And you are one of her best traits, by the way, is happy to help. She's always happy to help. She's done many things for me out of the kindness out of her heart and doesn't expect a dime from it. She's awesome. She'll help you out awesomely. So, one of the things, so if I were to take this PGA golfer's mentality into real estate, I would say this. 1, buy and sell in the same market. There is a lot of chatter out there, about the market, whether it's going to go up or down. And a lot of people talk about this being the best investment you've made. Your home, I'm sorry to say, is not an investment. Can you make money off of a home sale? Yes, you totally can. I've done it twice. but it's not an investment. You do not throw your investment money into your home thinking, oh, this is really going to take off. No, you have your investments for that. Your home is not an investment. It is something that you can store your cash in. But if the market goes down, that was what we would call a bad investment. That's not what's going on. It's not an investment. It's a home you live in. It's, do you like the location? Do you like the monthly payment? Those two questions right there, location and monthly payment. Do you like the house and do you like the monthly payment? Because those two things will cure out. And if you buy and sell in the same market, you're cured. Why do I say that? Because if you don't overextend yourself, you don't have to worry about whether the market's going to go up, whether it's going to go down. Shar, thank you. And so, Shar, when you talk about is the demand dropping? So I am seeing an uptick. I would love to know what San Diego's seeing, Lynette, if you're still on. I'm seeing an uptick in the market in the last 10 days, probably, of buyer activity. I know that I just did some analysis for a seller today in South Meridian. There were 3 times as many pending homes that went pending this 7-day period than the last 7-day period. And that equals about mid-November rates. And so it's, it has something we haven't seen in about a couple months. So you just have to make sure that you're buying in the same market. It's a little blank here. You like the price, you like the house, and that takes care of most all of it. Now, one thing we have to remember with the market is when people talk about the market and this recession that's happening, or maybe people think is happening, still low inventory and days on market. Wow. Yeah, we're not seeing that. So speaking of days on market from Lynette, we're seeing days on market times 10 of what they used to be in our height. So we're up to, some places are up to 60. And so, which is crazy. Homes that are priced right, about 33% of homes go the first weekend. And then the rest if you take out that first chunk, the average days on market is actually in the 80s. It skyrockets up to the 80s. I just did that stat this morning. So days on market is crazy if you don't price that home to sell in the first weekend. And it takes a lot, and it usually takes a price drop or two. When we talk about it, back to the recession thing, if we talk about a recession, remember, a stock market recession is not the same as a housing market recession. Is not the same as a gas recession. Is not the same as a food recession. Is not the same as a job market recession. These things are all a part of the market as a whole, but you can have a bad market, a bad stock market, and then guess what they can actually do if you have a bad stock market? They can lower rates in the housing market to increase money circulation. That is a very viable chance. In fact, it's something that they're talking about. And so so when we say, oh, we're in a recession, housing market's going to slow, I'm not going to buy. I've had many people tell me, I'm holding out for another year. We haven't hit the bottom. We're very far from the bottom. We might be. But if you worry about all the chatter and you don't worry about, do you like the house? Do you like the location? Do you like the house? Do you like the payment? You're going to be so caught up in so many headlines that you're not going to move. It's going to be paralysis by analysis. If you sell your home in California and move here, you're buying and selling in the same market. If you're local, if you buy and sell in the same market, you're good. If you're trying to treat it as an investment and you're trying to time peaks and valleys, I wish you luck, because if your luck is like mine, I can't even get a sports game right. Speaking of sports games, let's talk about sports games for a while. If you guys notice in a sports game how they have a line, do you guys know what a line is? So if you have, I love that, Lynette. Turn the news off and listen to a real estate professional for guidance. I love it. I read headlines, but I read a little bit more than headlines. I dig into some lengthy market reports. Let's go back to, I'm a squirrel here. Let's go back to the lines on games. So let's say the Houston Rockets are playing the LA Lakers. Houston, LA. Let's say LA's favored by 8.5 points. Okay, people start making their bets, and a lot of people are betting on LA to cover. Guess what they can do with that line? They move that line to 8 points, then to 7.5, then to 7. All of a sudden, people start betting on Houston. So what happens? The house always wins. The house always wins. Travis, thanks for joining us. Travis, you're the man. Travis joined us on another live a few months ago. We'll get him back on another time when we'll have some better connection. The house always wins with those lines. Do you guys know what they can do with the markets? They can change that line. If too many people are banking on not buying their house, guess what they do? They change the rates to accommodate. Bob, great to have you. Good morning. Good evening here. So the house always wins. I am a believer that there's some very powerful people, and I don't even know the half what I'm talking about, by the way. Very powerful people pulling money strings to make sure that money goes where it needs to go. Money flows how it needs to go, that the bets and investments and all those things are going to be filling their pockets, and that they'll be controlling the way they need to do the masses. And they do that with news media. They do that with rates. They do that with meetings with global events. They do a lot of things. I don't even, who knows, but I know they do it with rates, and I know they do it with headlines, media and rates. So if you guys have, if the market goes down, the real estate, if the stock market goes down and people are pulling out money left and right, now people are holding on to cash. They need that cash to circulate. They can lower interest rates to get money going into the housing market. We need, they look for, the CPI lowered this week. That was awesome news. That leads to a belief that we might see, because inflation's curbing, that we might see rates lower, because that's their whole goal with inflation, is to collect money from that inflation. The interest rates is to collect money from that inflation. So there are so many things going on. Like, I speak this stuff and I study this stuff. Hello, Brian, join us. I speak this stuff and I know quite a bit about it, but at the same time, like, the more I read about this stuff, the more I realize I'm just totally lost. And that's why I say stick to the basics. Buy and sell in the same market. You can do that. I know some people who want to rent first. I know someone, my cousin, he is moving from Austin to Denver right now. He is selling in a good market, and he's going to rent for a year, and then he's going to buy in a year. He's not doing it because he treats it as an investment. He's doing it because he wants to do that with his home. You know, up market, down market, he's buying in a year. He's not doing it because he's trying to time the market. Now, if you would have sold, I heard someone say this other day, if I only would have capitalized and sold my house a year ago, and now they're looking at a house, they could have afforded it. And it's like, hello, that would have been a huge risk. You would have been homeless for a year. And you're talking with perfect hindsight, it's 2020, about how you could have bought and sold in two different markets and been a king. Like, hello, if I would have bought 1,000 Bitcoin in 2010, I want to be sitting here today. I'd be on my yacht doing this. So keep in mind, like, just buy and sell in the same market. Do you like your house? Do you like your payment? Because recession or no recession, if you don't overextend yourself on that payment, you're fine. If you like your house, you're fine. I make a lot of money on people who don't want two-story houses anymore, that want single story. If you think long-term and you have the house that you want, or if you can handle a two-story house when you're 6 years old, which totally can happen. I have some 60-year-old people right now buying a two-story house. They don't care. I've got some 35-year-old people buying a two-story house. They don't care. But I also just put one under contract on Saturday. It had to be single level or single level with bonus because of their grandkids, and that they can have a grandkid in the bonus room. But for them, they need single level. So, guys, it really, those three things, it's like the golf professional that I told you the story at the beginning. It's like him telling me to take 3 clubs in my hand, do a drill, and put my ball right down the center of the fairway. That is the same thing I'm telling you now. Do you like your house? Do you like your payment? Buy and sell in the same market. That is really as simple as it gets. And I think you can throw all the headlines away and go there. Let's go to, if we have any questions, we'll go to those. Looks like we don't have questions. A lot of great comments. I love the comments. One-story houses do exist. Shar, the one-story houses do exist out there. They're totally out there. Lots, when you get into like a 0.14 or lower lot, I don't know what that is. 0.1, it's 43,560 square feet per acre. So if you do the math, 0.23 times that, then you can figure that out. But if you're looking like that, you're looking at a 2-story house. If you're looking at anything a little bit bigger, you can get a 1-story house, and that should be able to. And you can find those with patience. It might be in a different location, but that's it. That's part of our when we go into a buyer's consultation. I do this little 10-question hour-long Zoom call when we talk about how moving to Idaho, and it's part of the easy 1, 2, 3 buying process. And when we do that, we'll ask questions to get those things out of you, and we'll get your likes, your dislikes, your must-haves, your must-nots. And when you find a home with 85% or more of what you're looking for, see 1,500 square foot home, single story, easy peasy, we'll get that. It might be in a different location, but as long as a certain location isn't a deal breaker, you can get those things. So, let's see. let's go to, and I'd love to hear who's there's. Oh, that's what you're looking for. That's thanks for joining us again. Forget, well, you guys' screen names throw me off. I always forget. Let's go to a reminder. Do yourself a favor. If subscribe or no subscribe, the subscribe helps you when I make new content, which is coming out weekly. That you guys see that right away. And in this stuff like this to me is I'm actually pretty passionate about this subject. Seeing the market and just seeing so many people talk as if they're experts and know what's going on. And guys, houses are going in Boise right now. I have people who told me they wanted to wait till February 1st today. And I was like, I don't think you should wait till February 1st. I really truly believe the market is at a good point to buy right now. They're going to buy and then they're going to rent out their house. And they're in a situation where they can afford that. And I truly believe that now is a great time to buy. I haven't been saying that for 2 years. I have not been saying now is a good time to buy and sell. Although if you're going to minimize your risk, then you want to buy and sell in the same market. Let's see. Let's go. Let's start off with rates, where rates are. Jean is my wonderful assistant. She runs a lot of what I do. Let's start off with the rates. Show the ICCU map rate sheet. And the reason we show ICCU is, generally speaking, they're the lowest in the valley. My preferred lender that I have is actually a tad bit lower than ICCU, and their closing costs are extremely cheap. They're about $1,000. I've heard of horror stories from title company people who say that their lender charges like 15 grand every once in a while. Like, that's someone that's dishonest. I got somebody who's honest and has the best rates in town and the quick closing times. And I have 2 lenders I go to. I have one I send primarily all my stuff to, and my secondary. They're both within about $40 of each other and how much they cost. And then the rates are both amazing. So on a 30-year fix, that's 5.875. Right now, guys, there's ways to get the rates down, sometimes into the 4s, right? There's seller concessions. That's why that's why now is a great time to buy, is because they say a balanced market has about 4 months worth of inventory. In other words, if no new home sellers came into the market, that the buyers would buy up the inventory in about 4 months. And we're below that. We're below that all across the board in every city that I've done that market research on, which is about 5 of them. We're below that. So you can actually get sellers to pay a lot of times. If they're price strong, as a buyer, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to go in there and we're going to try to ask for seller concessions to go through buying down the rate. And there's a mathematical formula for that. But long story short is, if you're depending on, and I know if you put different amounts down towards your payment, they don't allow you to buy things down. But a very popular one right now that is going on is a 2-1 buy down. You get the first year at 2%, 2 percentage points down, then next year 1 percentage point down, and then everything else. So it's an adjustable rate. And then after that, it's at the rate it was. And you can hopefully in the next 3 years, if the market's good, you can refinance. So that's where the rates are at. Let's take a look. Let me see if I can grab something real quick. I want to show. I'm gonna put up a chart right now, Gene. I want to show this real quick, because this is, if you look at this is from August 2019 to December 2022. So all I really want you to look at is the last year. So it's about 2/3 on the page. There's a little gray thing that goes up. That's the national average compared to Ada and Canyon County. If you look from a year ago, we are actually pretty close. Now, there's more graphs I was actually looking at before. I can't share my screen, else I'd do it right now. We're pretty flat across the board in terms of that right there. What I see is a lot of, I don't see those charts too often. I'm seeing a lot. When I look at data, I look at city by city, zip code by zip code, because those ones are less up and down. Let's see how there's like a peak and then a valley and a peak and then a valley. I don't see that as much when I'm looking in one area. That's the whole Ada County as a whole, Ada and Canyon County as a whole. So if that makes sense. So if you go back a year, we're pretty close to what prices were a year ago, which is great to see. I don't know of too many people who are against that. Let's see what we got here. Average days on market. This is something we track. This is I'm not sure where we got this data from, other than BoiseDev.com gave it to us in a chart by visualizer. But sometimes these data points are aggregated from unknown sources. But this is pretty similar. This is pretty spot on to what I'm seeing. We're seeing days on market just skyrocket. And I'm just being told that this data comes from the MLS. Awesome. Let's go to. Okay, Lynette is explaining something. I'm going to put her up here. Lynette explained when I said seller concessions. What does that mean? It's rate buy downs. It's price reductions. So, seller concession is it can buy a rate down. It can reduce the price. It can reduce your money to closing table, and then she defines price reductions. The savings should be sufficient enough to take you through the first 7 years of your loan, and within that time, you can refinance. So that's some more math for you guys on the seller concession. Travis said he had a friend go to 475. I saw that same rate here in the Valley. It's all about the buy downs. Let's see, USA Real Estate. I'm not sure who you are. I like that though. Not sure. Let's see, 9 tips for choosing the right neighborhood when buying a home. Interesting. Let's not show that. Let's go to Bob. Bob, you say Ada is Treasure Valley. Ada County is Ada and Canyon County. So Ada County is Boise, Meridian, Eagle, Star, Garden City, Meridian, Kuna. I'm not sure if I said Meridian twice there. And Canyon County is Nampa, Caldwell, and Milton. That's Canyon County. Okay. Great questions. Love having people contribute on here. So that's how that goes. Gene, let's go into some of the those data points we had for Ada County as a whole, and we'll go through those. Actually, no, stop that. Sorry, I'm gonna override that. We're gonna go to this one. Okay, that one real quick. Okay, I want to talk about this real quick. What you see on your screen is a Google Trends data. So Gene's grabbed this morning. This is awesome data. So you can look at what people are searching for and from different areas. Is one thing I've been preaching is that Boise is a protected pocket. It's kind of like our weather. Who knows why our weather is better than Salt Lake's because we're more north, and why we're drier than the coast. We know why it is. We don't receive that much. We don't see as much rain. We're not as cold, but somehow we're protected because of our conservative state, and people are moving here because of that. Like that is a very well-known fact that the news is not talking about. And you can see in Idaho, we're still seeing the search for homes for sale, I think is the keyword on this one. And Idaho is still receiving the most, tied for most keyword searches for that term. Boise is a protected pocket, and is the market in Boise, I would say, is very strong. Lynette, I love having her on here today because she told us that San Diego's days on market is very low. It's like San Diego's still getting a boom. People love San Diego. Speaking of protected weather, they're receiving. So it sounds like some good stuff. This keyword research here is for the term quote homes for sale. So when someone would search homes for sale, this is how many times it showed up in that state. All right, Gene. Now you can go back to yes. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go through this. When we look at January 2022, this is month to month from active listings. We're seeing more homes on the market, is what that says. Pending, we should see. Go ahead. So we're already seeing more homes go pending in January than December. What does this tell you? It means the market is behaving nicely in terms of money circulating. All the ones that have sold, we've only had 212 closed. We had 580 closed. Remember, that is a 30-day what's the word? Lapsed number. So it'll happen. So the ones that close in January most likely went under contract in December. So that number is going to lag a little bit. Median days on market, I expect this to be up. Let's see what it is. It is up a little bit. Just because we're still in the middle in January. I bet by the end of January, if we compare January to December as a whole, we're going to see January be decreased. Median sold price, bet you about the same. Let's see where we're at. No. Way down. 20% drop. Okay, so because I've been looking at numbers so long, what does median sold price dropping like that mean? It means it means don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It means, you can put that back up again. It means that we have sold of 212. That's way less than 580. We're going to see that number creep up. I bet you by the end we're done 450, and you're going to attribute some of this to the slow market, because a lot of people, you guys understand, when Christmas comes around, people aren't looking at homes and people freak out and they'll take a lot of contracts. So around the holidays is actually a good time to be buying. A little secret for you. Lowest sold price per square foot. Let's bring that up. 175 was 150 per square foot. And then in January, we had a 285, which was 278 per square foot. And that's the lowest sold price is what we're going off there, not the lowest price per square foot. And the highest sold price in Ada County were from 2.8 to 3.2. So, all right, let's look at Eagle in the next data point there. And I'm going to check the chat real quick before we dive into that, see if anyone else has commented. Lynette said still 33 to 59 days depending on price. So I assume you're talking about days on market there. All right. Let's go back to the captions, and you just leave those captions on there, or this screen here. Okay. In Eagle, we went from 39 active listings to 34 active listings. That number is going to be hard to pull. We have 34 active listings right now. Pending homes, we have 23 in January. We had 15 total in December. Solds, we had 26 sales so far. We have 66 in December. Remember that number lags. Median days on market for the homes that sold up considerably in Eagle, up 17 days. Median sold price, I think this one went down, no, up. So again, went up $250,000. Remember, we're going off a small data. This is not law of large numbers. This is law of small numbers, if there were such a thing. Lowest sold price in Eagle, I'm going to just put 390. Okay. Went from 321 to 390. Highest sold price, I bet you it's that $3.2 million home. It sure is. Yeah, there you go. So there's Eagle. Gene, let's go to Meridian, but let's just start with the all solds. Start with all solds in Meridian. Click, click, click. All right. And there's a reason I'm doing this. I'm not sure. Well, I'll tell you later, Gene. But all solds. We've gone from 191 sell in December to 71 in January. Median days on market, 54 to 52. Very, very steady there. Median sold price. Let's see what this goes from. Very similar. That's within like 12%. Lowest sold price, 294 to 285, and highest sold price, I'm going to guess $1.5 million. Ho! Pays to be lucky. 2.1 to 1.5. Perfect. And then I want to check out. You guys have any questions? Where you're coming to comment? Where you're coming from? Comments. Any questions you have on the market? Tell me if you think my simplification is too narrow. In fact, keep the camera on me. I want to read a couple things that we put together for you before we came on this live. Let's go with the number of home sales. So we went from 13,000 sales the year before to 16,000 sales, almost 17,000 sales to 13,500 in 2022. Despite the fact that houses typically take longer to sell in the cool winter months and holiday months, the number of days on market hit a multi-year record in December, increasing to 62 in Ada County and 68 in Canyon County. Pretty crazy. Staggering, actually, considering that a year ago, things were just flying off the shelf. And you can attribute this to headlines or rates, and I would say rates is the biggest thing. I have, I'm just going to flash this I'm not going to flash this thing real quick. I have a list of people that I keep track of. It's online, and I write it out for a mental exercise just to keep people front of mind. And when I do that, I circle people who are closer to buying a house. So that way, if I see a house, they're fresh in my mind. It's something I do to keep people top of mind. And I have a lot of people circled who are planning on buying a home and they're just waiting on the sidelines to see things level. Very, very common when you see rates go up and down. Very, very common for people to sit on the sidelines. And I've seen that this month. I've got a few people this month who are just saying, we're now ready to play. And they're getting a lot more serious. The people last week were a great example of that. They flew out here on a Wednesday, on contract by Saturday, and they weren't planning on being here that weekend. I've got the same thing happening with another family from Florida. They are moving. They're going to be here in March. We'll be in, and they're actually going to take a month rental, and we're going to take a month to find a home. But that they were going to be here in June, and now they've bumped that trip up to March. So things are happening at a faster pace right now. Let's go to, I think. One thing I want to go to. I don't pull up Star right now. One thing I want to go to is if you're looking for Stars data, if you like Stars data or CUNA or NAMPAs or Caldwell's, you can email me, Brian at brianhymas.com, and I can send you all these slides. Easy to do. We can send you all the data that I'm going through. If you're like, man, that's super interesting. If you're a data geek and a data nerd, some people don't love the data. But your data people are going to be like, you're going to think it's insane. But because some of you just know if you have $750,000, you know what that $750,000 should look like when you buy a home. Other people need to have the logical side of the brain confirm what they're feeling, right? So just so if you're looking for any of these slides, please email me at brian@brianhymas.com and we'll get you everything else. If this is your first time watching, thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions, put those in the chat as we are about to sign off. Brett Moore, thank you for joining us. Looks like you're on Facebook. Oh, it tells me where you're joining from. That's cool. Facebook and YouTube, about 50-50 split. Thank you for joining us, Brett. I hope you enjoyed seeing Tom Brady yesterday, or was it yesterday? And I kind of want to know, the only thing I would love, if I could have like a group discussion with all of you guys here that are on right now, or those who are watching in replay. If you're here in replay, give me a hashtag replay. And then, but I want to answer this question. If you had to move right now, would you? If you had to move right now, would you? Is now a bad time for you to buy? If so, tell me why. It would obviously, go against anything I've said. It would go against a lot because I think the market is so incredibly oversaturated with headlines that sometimes we forget. If you have a job transfer, you have to move. Just buy and sell in the same market. If you have, if you want to move, buy and sell in the same market. I think it's super simplified that way. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I would love to hear why I'm wrong. I don't think it's contentious. I just think it's my take on the market. Brett says, good time to buy if you have cash. Oh, totally. This is a great time to buy if you have cash. So my guy who just went under contract on Saturday is a cash buyer, and his son, who lives in France, is really into data and is a geek for that type of stuff. And he said, don't buy now. You're gonna throw money away. And it's like, okay, you can play the game of the market, or you can throw that money at the house. And it might not be, some people can say it's not the best, if you can't make 5% in the market, why are you, but for him, he wants peace of mind, and he's going to put that money towards the house. And it's like, okay, if the house goes down 10%, 100,000 on $1 million home is forgive my brash comment here, but $100,000 is a lot of money. But if you have a 1.1 million and you want a house and you like the house, you like the location, you like the payment, you like the house, and you're buying and selling in the market you're comfortable with, because they're selling for 1.6 in Oregon, and they're going to take that, and is it really going to make or break their life, that $100,000? I would be hard pressed to say that they will. I know that's crazy talk. I know it's $100,000. Like, Brian, do you know how much $100,000 is? Do you know like what that can do? I do. But do you realize that these people can get the house they love? Like, there's nothing wrong with this house to these people. And it's a beautiful home, beautiful beams. These beams aren't those fake beams. These are real beams on the ceiling. A very Spanish feel. It's so unique. They love it. It's warm and inviting to them. The patio is twice as large as they wanted. There's no back neighbors, nor will there ever be, because it's a backyard of, anyway, it's perfect for them. Absolutely perfect. And And so are you telling me that they should wait till that 1.1 could turn into 1? In fact, we offered 1.1 and I said, hey, look, I think you can offer less. And because that's what it was listed at. And they said, we want to come in at full, we want the house. They don't want to let the house get away. So is waiting for a house that doesn't, I mean, you tell me, is holding on to your money do anything? Miles, thanks for joining us. I would think it's a good time to buy. That man knows his stuff. He is a data nerd and his brother's a builder. Bob, I would caution, yes, I want to bring this up. I love that you gave your opinion, Bob, because I love that it's different. My reluctance, I would cautiously buy right now. My reluctance is I see the trends of pricing dropping in the valley. Totally. And that's, if you can buy and sell in the same market, then you're buying and selling at a good time. Maybe not the perfect time. Timing the bottom and timing the peak is hard. Because if you're trying to time the bottom and all of a sudden rates, let's say rates dropped a point today. Do you guys realize what people missed out on? Do you guys realize that all of a sudden there's a market frenzy and that people are going to be running like chickens with their head cut off again? And I'm going to be doing 14 video tours a day, and we're going to be writing offers at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to be hoping that we're one of 48 offers, and we're going to be trying to all we can to make sure our offer is accepted. Like we get so focused on one factor, and that's price of payment, price of the home. Payment's important. Price of home is important. But if we don't realize that there's so many other factors, will your offer get accepted? Will you have peace of mind in that house and that payment? Will you like the payments? Do you like the way it's being financed? Do you like all the things they're giving you or not giving you in the sell of the home? Do you like the close date? Do you like that you'd have to write a sweet old, love letter to make sure they choose your offer? Do you like that the pace of the market, you can actually go home and think about things for a couple of days? I just believe there's so much more than what it's like, well, wait for the bottom. Like, I don't know about that. Like if we all knew how the bottom was, would we not have all bought 10 rentals in 2012? If we all knew what the bottom looked like? When the bottom comes, you hold on to your penny. That's the reason rates is they're trying to squeeze pennies out of the market because they're not circulating, because we're all hoarding because we're scared of the market. If we knew how good the market could be, would we not all invest now? Dead serious. How's the market going to be in 10 years from now? How's the market going to be when you sell your house? How's the market going to be when you finally outgrow your house? If you can answer those questions, that's why it comes down to, do you like your payment? Do you like your house? Are you buying and selling in the same market? If you aren't buying and selling in the same market, it is hard. I can sympathize with you there. One of my best friends is not going to be able to buy and sell in the same market because they're only going to be able to buy. They have to have a house because of how their business is set up. They have to keep that house, and they need to take all the cash and put it into a new loan, and they need a bigger house. I sympathize with that. I sympathize with first-time home buyers. Although, guys, there are so many loan programs right now. Are you guys aware? Are you guys aware of how many loan programs there are for you guys to get into homes? For a business owner, do you realize that I was told you had to have 5 years of income to get into a home. I got in with one. And then they wanted, and then the loan I'm going to refinance into, they want 2. Do you guys realize that there's a Idaho housing first loan you can get come on top of your conventional loan, and you can get into house. My first house, I got into $500. I put 2 people into homes this year before the market got soft. I put 2 homes where they actually collected a check. They had to verify that the numbers are right because it doesn't happen that often. I like what Annette just says. You don't want to be playing the I wish I would have bought game. I just read The Psychology of Money. Psychology of Money talks about the best way to invest is always, they talk about stock market investing, is drip, $1 a day into the market over 100 years did a lot better than people trying to time the market. Or I think they don't think they disclose the amount of money they're putting in there. Is the best way to drip your money into the market. So, guys, it has been real. It has been 40 minutes. I'm super passionate. If you can't tell, I'm pretty passionate about the subject of markets, of rates, of people talking as if they're experts. People are out there buying. Homes are actually increasing. The number of sales is increasing. The stats show that if you want those slides, brian@brianhymas.com, email me and we will get those to you. Just say, hey, send me the slides and from your live, and we will know what that means. And we can totally send those out. Guys, our next live is going to be the first Tuesday of the month. It happens right in the middle of the day for you guys who are unable to make the night shift here. Right in the middle of the day, first Tuesday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. That's noon Pacific. I do that because of how many, buyers I have from California and Washington, so you can hit your lunch break. So that was for you. And then also the third Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. Mountain, which is 6 Pacific. Guys, Boise is still a good market. I'm not going to prophesy and say we have, amazing times coming in the next 6 months. I have no idea. I've read I read an article that was so long this morning. By the time I was done with it, I was like, we're either going to be living in paradise in 6 months or we're going to be all in shackles in 6 months. Like, I get that there's real things happening with the markets that I do not understand. But what I do understand is that you slowly contribute, buy and sell in the same market, simplify the process, be happy with your house, don't overextend yourself, and be happy with that payment, and you're going to be just fine. Guys, thanks for joining. It has been 40 minutes of nonstop fun on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you, everyone, for getting on, and Twitter. And for my 4 followers on Twitter, thank you. Love being here and passionate about the subject. And we will, Tyler Dessler, before I go, Tyler Dessler, old basketball friend from high school. How's the foreclosure market, Brian? Foreclosure market in Boise is very strong. I have not done any foreclosures in Boise. I know nationally the rate is higher than what Boise is, and I know that people are trying to scoop off, but I'm not seeing anything on my end that says this is a good foreclosure market. Tyler, you actually might, I think you know a little bit more about that, do you not? But I don't think people are scooping up things. I'm not seeing, like, the forbearance thing. One of the things that, I don't know if you're hinting at, Tyler, but one of the things people want to know with foreclosures is, is the forbearance, right? We had, when COVID hit, there were people who said, you didn't have to make your payments if it was COVID related, right? And you could skip out your payment. Well, that forbearance, those numbers nationally were about 14% when it was about, I think it was like 2 to 4% in Boise of people who were actually affected by that. Boise is a strong market. People can say it's a Ponzi scheme in Boise. It's holding us up. I would say the Ponzi scheme is all based in a conservative state, and people are moving here for that, and that is not disputed. If you think that's disputed, hop in my car with me with everyone that comes to the state. It's probably you as well. Most people are searching for a conservative state. People, I call them political refugees. You might not be the same, but that is who's moving here, and that's why the state is so strong. Align with them or don't align with them. That is what's going on with why people are moving to Boise. It's not because of the beaches. I know it's not because of the beaches. I know it's not because of our world-class skiing, while we do have a ski hill 45 minutes away. I know it's not because of the beauty that, like, you would see in Washington with the pine trees everywhere. This is a desert with a river going through it with trees all. When you go above Boise, it looks like green trees because of the water that gets everywhere. Desert soil is pretty fertile. People aren't moving here because of that. They're not moving here anymore because you can buy a $500,000 home, and that's on an acre and it's 3,500 square feet. That's not what they're doing anymore. That price is doubled now, and we're more expensive than some parts of California. People are moving here because of what Idaho is to them. So with that, I will sign off, and I will say thank you for joining us. And I honestly appreciate you guys getting on. It's so much more fun when to do these things when people are live, people are with me, people are commenting, and it makes these lives so much better and more. I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of things on my mind that gotten out here. Hopefully you found this beneficial. If you have, give me a hashtag. Good stuff, and we'll catch you next time.